Padres. It's not as fun without the twirl.
Yeah.
Moment's over.
Moment's over, and by the time this episode comes out,
We'll
have
winners.
known. Yes, that we're winners. We're winners.
We're happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Polite as Fuck. If you're new here because you're sharing with your friends, I'm Ellie.
I'm Erica. And it's the playoffs.
Ooh,
No.
that
It's
might be-
the championships. I'm confused because it's like this, and then whoever wins this goes to the next thing, and then it's the World Series. So what is this one called? Third tier.
I like that. Like, why can't it be simple?
I don't know.
Men.
Men.
We are gonna kick it off with kind of our 10 and 10, which goes along with what we're talking about today. Is our like, how would you word this? Like our like fantasy careers. Yep, actually, that's how you would word it. Wasn't that difficult?
Really
turns
crazy
out.
to describe.
Do you want to go first?
Sure. So Ellie prefaced this by saying, like, what career would you do if you would get paid, like, a sustainable living? I think for me, it's like, what career would I do if I could do it or change the course of my life how I've lived it so far? Because, like, the first one would be a professional athlete. And, like, not that I don't think I am a good athlete. I'm not a professional athlite.
Yeah.
And I think I would need to do things differently to get there. But I think
But that would be
really
dream.
fun.
Oh, fully. I'm stealing that actually. That's a great one. What would you want to play, or would you not care?
I don't know that I would care. I think it'd be fun to do a sport where there's a team and like a crowd.
Yeah.
Like I love swimming, but like
You can't hear anything.
you can't hear anything. A basketball player, like especially in this time period, like when the WNBA is actually getting attention, or like women's soccer, that would be really cool.
Yeah, soccer would be awesome. They're freaking baddies.
Yeah, truly.
That's a good one.
What is yours?
My first one is like an elephant caretaker. An elephant.
An elephant. I would be an animal if I could pick.
If I could choose any career, it would be elephant.
That would be
No,
cool.
so I follow a lot of these like places in Africa that are like rehabilitation centers. And then they also just have like information on like poachers and basically how they'll like go help the animal, like these like wildlife vets basically. But there's this one in particular, and I can't remember the name, but it's like specifically for elephants. And there's this one like adolescent, probably teenage elephant now, that has lost its trunk, and they were like, it's like literally like a little snoot. Like it's just so cute, and like how they rescued it, how it happened, and like it's their like progression video. And it recently came out that it's like she's now living like way past what they'd ever expect her to live and all that. And I'm like, that is so fucking cool.
that
Like
is
just to be like
cool.
living out there and
Yeah.
like doing that and seeing that would be awesome. And also elephants are like, oh, I fucking love them. They're just like amazing. They're my favorite.
Oh,
So that's my first one.
that's a good one.
Yeah.
When you first asked it, honestly, the first thing that came to my mind was a teacher. And I think that I would be more stoked to be a teacher if I got paid a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Oh,
I feel
yeah,
like I would
same.
have more patience and be able to put up with some stupid shit. Because, like, I taught English, but that was in another country, and I was, like, broke as hell. But I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was fun. And I, like, have always thought that I would be a teacher. But it ain't for me because I like to do things in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding. That's not on mine. My next one is like an actress. I would love to be an actress. I was gonna say musician, but maybe it's like the musician is like the professional athlete. I kind of have to like restart life kind of to get there.
Yeah.
Whereas like an actress, I feel like I could do now.
Yeah. No, I had musician in my brain. I didn't write any of these down.
Yeah.
But I feel like similar of being able to like perform. I do think that it's obviously romanticized, and I think that I would also hate everything I do being like hyper analyzed or like rumors spread about me. Like I kind of like not having that.
Yeah.
even though I want the podcast to take off to like a certain extent.
Yeah. We don't need our lives analyzed here.
Yeah.
But, like, what podcasters do. Really?
I feel like Alex Cooper.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Well, yeah, actually, the people went fucking nuts for her.
Yeah.
It
I
was
feel like
crazy.
she's probably the most. Or Jay Shetty. I mean, I feel like he's pretty big.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, actress is a good one. What's your next one?
Well, that was
Oh,
my
that's
musician.
your musician. Okay,
Yeah.
I see that. I'm not afraid of the ocean, but it's like kind of scary.
Uh-huh.
So I feel like if I could get over that fear, being like a scuba diver and like I don't know what you would do, be like a marine biologist and just like see the world like that would be so cool. There's no fucking way I'm going into space.
Oh, no.
So I would do something in the ocean. I just like I get a little nervous with that. Like it's totally attainable like to get certified or whatever, but I feel like to do a career just like watching whales and stuff.
Yeah.
That's
That
yeah.
probably is not in my top 10. But
Good
that's
for you.
really cool.
Great.
I just feel like I'd be claustrophobic and scared all the time.
Yeah.
But that's a good one. So this is like, I don't know that I would want to do this forever, but if I could redo the last 10 years of my like marketing career and instead of doing marketing, do UI, UX, like web design, like actually being the one to like, for a product, I'm the one that's designing the workflow and like what that user experience is. I feel like that would be really cool because it's like problem solving but also creative. Like, why is Instagram designed the way that it is? Those are the designers that determine that and do like user research and come up with these like ideas and like how to get people to stay on the app. I feel like would be really interesting.
Oh yeah. I could totally see you doing something
But
like
I
that.
wouldn't want to do that for more than like 10 years.
Yeah.
Like I'd need a career switch and then I'd be done.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, but it's like when, okay, we'll talk about this later. Go ahead.
Yeah. That is not in my top 10. Will not be in my top 10. My next one's a photographer. I've always liked taking pictures.
Yeah.
It's just like
And
artsy
to
or
get paid for
just
that.
any sort of like artist, like painting, I feel like. But photography is, I don't know, I like the wild side of it. It's like you really have to go out and do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a good one. What number are we on?
I think
is that 5 or
maybe.
4? Did I start then?
Yeah. So you're
this
on
is
your
my
last one. Yeah.
Okay, because I was like, I only have one more.
Yeah.
This is interesting, and I feel like I don't know if I would want it as a long-term career either, but I've always enjoyed, like, doing people's hair, like, especially my younger sisters, or, like, I don't know, I helped out some girls for, like, school dances sometimes, and I, like, always got excited when they felt excited about, like, how their hair looked, and, you know, I
could
just
totally
feel like
see
that
that.
would be fun.
I love that. A
Like
good
helping
experience.
for like someone's wedding, but then I think about the downfalls of like if they hate it or they're unhappy, and then it's
Yeah.
like, okay, I don't care.
Yeah, but there's that everywhere.
Yeah.
I like that one. My last one is a cowgirl.
Aww.
I would just like, I don't
Wait,
know.
that's so good. I want to do that too.
Yeah. Like if I could just do it, I would do it.
Just live on a ranch. When we watched Yellowstone, I was so like
I know.
in love with that,
I know.
and I want that.
And like when I drive to home and I'm like looking out and I'm like, yeah, this is my land, this is my cattle. I'm like, I could do that.
I mean, you kind of did.
I did. I think that's why I like would really like to do it, is because now I've like seen it and would want to do more.
I think my thing is I don't know that I would want to be like I would want my husband to be like the farmer, like the cattle rancher or whatever, and I would want to be like a badass cowgirl, but like with like sheep and like plants, a garden, and we just have a lot of land.
I like
Chickens.
it.
I want little animals that I can like.
I want a cowgirl, some chickens.
I don't know what it's. I like riding horses, but like, and I've never done it with like cows or anything.
Yeah.
They're just so big.
Yeah.
That sounds like scary and hard.
I've never done it with horses, but I did it with like a dirt bike, and that's a little easier because it's like the noise.
Yeah.
But I can assume it's the same kind of thing. But I would want to be like out. I mean, I would want to do all of those things too. I want to garden. I want to do.
Yeah.
I want to do the sheep.
I want to
have little lammies.
Yeah. What is it called? Like a trad wife? Is that a thing?
What?
Traditional wife.
Ew.
I know. But that's been like their. Have you heard of ballerina farmer?
No. What? You're making these up. These are fake.
Well, now that you're on TikTok, you're gonna know. It's this woman who, like, they're really rich, but they bought this, like, old barn-style house. They have a lot of land, and she, like, makes fresh bread and, like, has a beautiful garden, and it's, like, very romanticized. But now it's like, yeah, this is the role of the woman. This is what they should be doing, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, can we just not?
Yeah.
Like, can it be, like, that's enjoyable and also...
Yeah. Ugh, God. They gotta ruin everything.
Ruin everything!
And it's okay for you to like those things, but it's also, like, not... You have to do those things.
Yeah, it shouldn't be expected of you.
Also, what year is it? Why are we... Come on.
I know.
That's crazy.
But anyway, sorry that took us over.
No, that's okay.
That was a
10 and 10. Boom.
Boom. Which leads us to the topic of today, of careers. The career evolution.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited. I'm a little, like, nervous because, I don't know, careers are always... I feel like it's constantly changing. But I also feel like in a pretty good spot. So it'll be good to kind of, like, recap everything that I've done, which is an accomplishment, and then talk about maybe where, like, goals, like, for the future.
Yeah.
Do you want to go first?
Okay.
I'm going.
Well, I actually recently, when I was back home, my mom did, like, scrapbooks for us. Like, we had, like, a page for every year of school where she would, like, ask us what we wanted to be when we grew up, who our friends were, what we enjoyed, whatever. Very cute. I'm glad she did that. But mine was a teacher. I wanted to be a teacher. I used to, like, play school, like, when I was at home and, like, pretend to, like, be the teacher in the classroom. I don't know. It's always been a thing. And I think that I got into, like, high school and I was like, nah, like, they don't make any money. Kids are mean.
You, like, totally switched it up.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And then I really liked my psychology teacher. And I thought I was going to do social work. But then I learned more about how horrible people are. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I don't think that I could do that. I think that I would be so sad all the time. And obviously they're very sad because they're living it. But, like, I don't know that I could separate myself from work ever. Mm-hmm. So when I went into college, I was like, my first major was entrepreneurship. Like, I was like, I just want to be my own boss.
Right.
And do something, like, come up with some business that's going to make me money and help people. That was, like, my goal.
That is a goal. That's a great goal.
And I did, like, internships with nonprofits. I was like, you guys don't have any money. And that's sad. And then, like, around that time, Tom's was, like, blowing up.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's such a cool concept. They're making money, but they're giving, like, shoes away.
Yeah.
So I tried to do something like that. I, like, started a business in college called Sonder International, where I was, like, buying these, like, fair trade bags from Mexico where you, like, knew who the people were that were making them. They were paid fairly, so they were expensive. So then in order for me to make money, I needed to, like,
up it up.
Up that. And then it's like, I also didn't really care about the product itself.
Yeah.
I was like, you guys don't actually need bags. Like,
right.
Materialistic, stupid. I don't think anyone needs this. But the intention was a percentage of the profits I would then donate to a nonprofit in the U.S. So It was like, in my mind, I'm like, from the beginning to end, it's helping people, but I'm still able to sustain myself.
Right.
That didn't last very long. It was a very short-lived business, maybe about a semester. But during that process, I, like, made my own website, learned all about marketing, and I was like, oh, I had always thought of marketing as ads, and I don't like ads, but there was so much more to it, and so then I switched to marketing. But what I was going to say earlier about the UI UX thing is, like, it's so stupid to decide what you want to do with your whole life in college when you only know what you know about life. Like, I didn't even know UI UX was a thing.
God, say it louder.
I didn't know these other career options because I'd never been outside of like my retail job. So how could I have known that that was a thing? Mm-hmm. And I'm picking and spending money and doing 4 years of this that I don't even know like anything about, you know?
Yes. It's crazy that we just our brains aren't even fully developed, and now it's like, okay, you turned 18, congratulations. Now you have to make a choice. You have 4 years, or else you're considered whatever to decide what you want to do.
Yeah.
Have fun.
So it's backwards. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, I agree. There has to be a point of like in between from when you graduate to when you figure out what you need to do. I also have like a whole tangent I can go on about lack of information about trade schools. I like knew but didn't really know because just college was the expectation. Oh my god, I could really get in.
Well, yeah, it's like I also feel like it's a bit on high school to not, or to like what's the word? Present to you, but not even like present, like immerse you in different.
No, they friggin' shove AP classes down your throat and tell you that this is important and give you no real world, like, understanding. Mm-hmm. It's such a shame.
It's like you can do the military or you go to college. Those are your choices. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I feel like you know that there's electricians and plumbers. Like, you know that those are things that exist, but it's like not even really presented as like a viable option for a life path, because it's like, no, if you want to make the most money, this is what you do. But it's like, now we don't have enough people in the trade, and so it's like we're screwed over because no one, it's always presented or thought of as like a negative or like a less than thing, which is so shitty.
It really is. It is so shitty.
Sorry, should I finish my tangent about my career path?
Yes.
So I did marketing, went and worked for some restaurant franchise, went and worked for a women's fitness franchise. In between that, taught English. And I, like, when I came back, I was like, I have to get a full-time job. Mm-hmm. This is what you do. I haven't saved any money in the last year. I've actually spent all my money. I need to, like, save for retirement. I've been working in tech for the last 5 years, and it's actually, I wouldn't say it's the catalyst for why I'm in therapy. Actually, it is the catalyst for why I'm in therapy, why I have, like, had all these horrible, like, bouts of depression and anxiety, and I've gained a lot of weight and like all these things, and that's why I'm changing my career, because I'm like, this is not a way to live. It doesn't matter that I can make a ton of money if my quality of life sucks and I'm unhappy.
Love it.
I'm going back to school.
You're going back.
Your turn.
Pretty similar to you. I actually had no idea what I wanted to do. I used to joke with my family that I was going to join the military. Why is that so funny? I used to just be like...
just you in a little uniform with your tight bun.
And then I just felt like, I don't know, I was really attached to swimming, and I was like, I'm not really ready to let this go. How can I do it? And I felt kind of like it all happened so quickly. This time of my life was like, I can't even remember it. I feel like I blacked out. Like, it's just not real. But I felt kind of like pressure to make a decision. I didn't know too much about schools, but I knew that I had to make a decision, and my grades weren't, it's not that my grades were great, but I moved around so much, and when I moved to San Clemente, I did not put myself out there. I did not want to join a club. I did not want to do anything. I swam. I did the basic classes that I needed to do, and I got the fuck out of there. Like, I was not about to do all of these things because I just was so fucking depressed and, like, not even able to, like, do anything else that I didn't. It really, really took me a long time to realize, like, oh, maybe if I would have made some choices then, how different my life could be, whatever. So I ended up choosing a private D3 school in Oregon so I could swim. No scholarship, no nothing. The pool's not even on campus. We share the pool with the community. It is the community center pool, like high school. And I don't know if that's, I mean, I love, like, being there, but I just think it was kind of like, a lot of us kind of joke that it was like the last minute decision kind of college. And which is like funny, but not really. But I really did try to, during this time, like my parents, tuned into the last episode, my parents were going through like a really crazy divorce. And I really immersed myself in college. I like did a whole bunch of outdoor leadership classes. I tried to do stuff that I like would have never done before, like putting myself out there, classes. I really wanted to, I think my first major was, what do you call that? Physical therapy, because that was like what they were known for, is kind of what drew me to that school, because I was like, oh, swimming, I could be a coach or blah blah blah. That was my thought process. Took physical therapy 101 or whatever, and whatever the first class is, and this was my first D in my life.
Wow.
This is my freshman, what do you call that, the first semester of freshman year, and I was like getting drunk all the time. Don't know why I whispered that. I am like crazy, got my first D, and I just kind of was like, oh my God, my life, like I can't do this. Like I really need to like change my whole life around. So then I did marine biology, or I did education, and they're like, well, if you want to teach high school, you have to get a degree in whatever you want to teach. So then I did biology, and then I was like, I don't know if this is what I want to do. And then I worked at a summer camp, which was like my first time like really working with kids, working with like a specific age group. I worked with like the teen girls that are from the Bay Area, like deep in San Francisco, and that was just like a little bit of a culture shock for me and really turned my perspective around. And I went back and I was like, social work, this is what I want to do. My like goal all throughout college was like, I want to do some sort of outdoor leadership programs for like trauma-informed programs for like adolescent females. And yeah, that's what I thought I was going to do. So I did all that, graduated, and same thing. Like I entered the real world and got a little bit of a taste of like not even America. Like I got a taste of English, how English people, like the world.
Yeah.
And I was scared shitless, and I thought I knew everything, and I knew nothing. You know nothing, Jon Snow. And I like got really, really stuck. And I feel like that like stuck position is kind of like where I'm still at, because I just was like thrown in of like, wait, there were so many different options for me. I also spent a lot of money, and I'm still owing money to this place. So I feel very like financially attached to my decision, that I am like, that's anxious. So when I came back from Australia, I felt obligated to do like social work. So that's when I did before and after school care, because that was my most like experience. And I started with being an assistant, and then I moved up to being a director of like just a site, of like being in charge of that program with like X amount of kids. And I did that all the way up until last year, with like a little bit of different jobs like sprinkled in for extra cash, like restaurant jobs. And was like left one organization to another. You guys know the story. I went all back up and down all over the place to end up where I was ending up, and I was fucking miserable, and everything just caught up with me of like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? I thought this was it. This at least like makes sense with my degree, but I'm so unhappy. So I quit. And I've been working at the restaurant ever since, and that's that.
And I mean, I don't know. I don't want to speak for you, but I feel like it's been a good decision.
Oh,
like
100%. I mean, like, as far as, like, career-wise, like, based on this topic, it does feel a little bit like a setback, because it feels like I'm not taking a step forward in, like, a career direction. I don't know if that's just because, like, in this specific, like, place, there's no, like, room to grow. Like, I've grown as much as I can. There's no, like, opportunity to, like, learn more, like, leadership or, like, how things were business, and I wouldn't want to do this at this specific place. So, like, it did feel like a step back as far as, like, doing a career, but as far as, like, my mental health, which trumps everything, I'm like, there's no comparison.
Yeah.
So it's been a little bit of like a hard pill to swallow of like, okay, well, I feel like I'm not doing a career, but like, okay, you may not be doing anything social work, but like, do you come home crying? Are you like miserable? Like, do you have friends? Do you talk to your friends, or do you just like come home and shut yourself up in your room and like eat cookie dough every night and like, make yourself sick and drink like bottles and bottles and bottles of wine?
Story that you said was when you decided to stay home for Christmas or to stay in the apartment for Christmas, and all you did was watch Christmas movies and make yourself sick eating bark.
Chocolate bark. Peanut butter chocolate bark.
But you just saying
This
bark.
And eating bark. Yeah, well, I was depressed. Eating so much. So I think that's like my history of my career and where I'm at right now with it.
Yeah. I do think, like, not that it's good and it's not fun to have those experiences, but I feel like that is literally life of, like, I don't know that everyone has a career that they love and makes them so happy, and it's the thing that they want to do every day. And I think we've talked about this a little bit. Like, I think I've come to accept that, like, at least right now, my work is a means for me to be able to live life and do things. It's not like work is not my life, and I don't care about, if you're not watching this, my company, I don't care about it. Like, I don't. And it's like, yeah, I want to do a good job.
Right.
And I don't want to, like, let people down or just, like, you know, be a bad employee. But I'm also like, no, I'm going to shut my computer and go watch the baseball game with my friends. And, yeah, there are a lot of things I could do. There's emails that I haven't responded to. And it's just going to have to wait.
Yeah.
Till tomorrow.
I think, to your point, you saying that made me think too, it might be a generational thing, and I think a lot of people are feeling that way and really setting boundaries because it's like there are so many things that we like to do. So to pinpoint it of like, okay, you need to spend the next 40, 50, 60 years of your life doing this job, and then like that's going to be your life and that's all, like that has to consume you. I think people are more in your boat of like, yeah, this is like sustainable. It's not, you know, I'm like liking it. Maybe more, I don't know, it depends on who you are. But my point is like setting boundaries and being able to shut your computer to go live other life. But I just think too, you saying all that stuff made me think like I grew up seeing my parents both really enjoy their jobs. Like my mom knew that she wanted to be a nurse ever since I remember. Like I'm sure there was other things sprinkled in there, but I never remember her like hating her job. But what I fail to remember and like what I have to remind myself too is like she was always a nurse, always a doctor, but all of her, like it changed all the time. At one point she was a school nurse. Sometimes she worked at the ER. Now she works at the tribe. And like, she didn't go back to school until, you know, the kids were in middle school and I was out of she just a few years ago got her degree and all of this stuff, like master's and doctorate. So I think like that is important to recognize. And same with my dad, like he was in the military, so it was like, oh, he likes his job, didn't really complain about it. And then I didn't see until later once he retired, like, oh yeah, well, he was like, yeah, it took him like a long time to get a job once he left. Like it was kind of a miserable time. And he was like, fuck this civilian world, like this is shit. And I'm like, yeah, well, it's shit everywhere. Like when you don't have an exact idea of what it is you want to do, or even if you do, like it's tough regardless. But I think I don't know, I feel like I still want to have a career and I want to have a passion for that career, but I think, again, to summarize everything Erica just said, like I'm slowly realizing that like my passion is not really lining up with like my career. And like career doesn't necessarily mean like one job for 40 years or like one position for 40 years. And like there's growth within everything.
When you were saying that, it was making me think how I just got frustrated a second ago about like high school's not introducing us to enough things, and how can we pick a career if we don't know? It's sorry, my jaw got locked.
That was wild. I don't think I've ever
You
seen
wanna know
anybody.
a random fact about me?
Yeah.
My jawbone, I think it's supposed to be like rounded
Uh-huh.
to like fit into the little socket. And I guess mine is like squared. So that happens sometimes. I have to like pop it back in.
Oh my.
Oh my. Yeah, just some fun quirks. Anyway.
My jaw back into place.
Now I can speak again. I do think that kind of like trying out different careers does help you know. Like, because if I decided to be a therapist right in college, I don't know that I would have the perspective and the experiences that I've had that I feel like would allow me to be a good therapist now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like I can, like, relate to people in a lot of different ways because I did try all these different things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, like, hard. It's like that. Dang it, I wish I would have just done this earlier, but also, like, I'm glad that I didn't so that I can do it now.
See, that's so funny because we're the opposite, where I'm stressed out because, like, I wanted to do therapy. I wanted to work with kids. I wanted to be immersed in these, like, very crazy situations and be the person to help and provide that mentorship and that care. And then I went into the real world and I'm like, I cannot provide care. Fuck this shit. And now I just spent a bunch of fucking money on something that I don't want to do anymore.
Yeah.
Because I'm not equipped. I can't. I can't.
Yeah. So what do we, as of now, what are we
What are the good things?
What are we wanting to do?
Well,
Because you had said the goals, right?
yes. I feel like I'm finally in a good spot where I don't care as much.
Yeah.
I think it took like a really long time, and I think being at the restaurant kind of humbled me, and being in like seeing so many different people like working in like the industry and seeing like that they can make this a lifestyle and no one looks down at them, and nor does anybody in my, like, I just am making this up in my mind. Like, it's not real. No one's ever said anything to me or thinks twice, whatever. So I think I'm at a point where I'm like, I really don't care. Like, let's just see what I like and what I don't like. And I recently applied for a part-time position as like it's called an adventure guide, but it's basically working with kids again. So I'm like dipping my toe back in. We'll see. As I'm like, I'm not equipped. So
I can't help people.
throw me back in, coach. But it's basically doing like, you know, like when the, you know, after school care, you know, the obstacle course shows up and it's like the people that tell you what to do, or like, you know, you go on like, I'm the fun one, and like, it's going to be different because I'm going to see like different groups of kids and not get like very emotionally attached to some, and like, you know, so it's going to be a little different, but I think it gives me a little bit of an opportunity to just test out. And I also think, you know, this is kind of why I wanted to have this episode today, is like how fitting to kind of circle back, because recently people, when I talk about my career and I've expressed to people like, oh, I feel very frustrated because I'm at a restaurant, like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. They're like, well, what, like, when you think of your career goals, like, what are yours right now, or what have they have been? And of course, me being a pessimist, I'm like, I don't have any right now. And they're like, okay, well, what were they before? And I was like, well, I've always wanted to do something like outdoors and with youth. And I'm like, okay, well, now I'm doing something outdoors and with youth.
Yeah.
Like, at least it's like the stakes are low because I still have the restaurant, where I'm like, if I don't like this, then I can officially be like, okay, what's next? And I have like other, you know, things that I think would be fun to do. But I just feel like this is a good
Like
step.
Yeah.
Also great that I get like, you know, double income. And I don't know. Like, I think as far as like goals, I don't know. It's hard to really like say. You have them in your mind, right? Like some like silly ones that you're like, oh, I want to do this, but like I don't want to speak on it because it sounds like silly. I'll say one just as an example because it's not super silly, but it is. But like working within the restaurant and me being like a leader, and I think I work well with people, and I can see things that like would go like really well or really not. Like somehow being like, it doesn't really work in this restaurant, but like being kind of that general manager in places and getting that done and still being like invested in the industry a little bit, I think would be fun.
Yeah, no, that'd be way cool. You'd be really good at that.
So things like that, but having a little bit more say and like stakes in something like that. But that's like, you know, you're when you're just like fantasizing or thinking about things, that was just like one that I had in my mind.
I feel like San Diego is a good area for that too, because there's a lot of like really cool
Like
restaurants over here.
Yeah, that's true.
That new one that just opened, like, I don't even know what it's called. It's
Layla.
Is that what it's called?
In North Park, yeah. Have you been inside?
No.
You would have to go. It's like, I have not tried anything, but after work,
inside?
we walked in and I was like, oh my God.
I've just
is
seen
like,
videos.
same with the Mothership place here. I've not been, I really want to, but like, there's no windows. Like, where is the air?
How are we breathing in here?
How are we breathing? And like, I don't know, I'm sorry, but like, after COVID, I'm like, I don't want to like, we're all like, he's a heavy breather. He looks like, I don't know, sick. You know,
Sickly.
You never know. Sickly, and now I'm breathing it in. I'm like, gotta have some filtration here. Freaks me out.
That is funny, but that's a really good point.
Yeah. Your goals.
I think that, like I said earlier, I've come to a good place where I don't necessarily need my job to check every box of like my life satisfaction, because I don't think that's possible. But I do think like in this next little year or so of like still working at my tech job while also going to school, like I just need it to be a way to support me. Like it just needs to support me. That's all I need from it in this moment. And then I'm hoping with like being a therapist and ideally going into private practice is like
Okay, sorry guys, but something's happening. Shut up.
We're trying to record. It's funny because I don't even notice it anymore, but when we go back to edit, you hear when cars, even with the windows shut.
I know. I'm like, oh my God. What do we have to do? A freaking like
soundproof
everything? Oh, Jesus. Or when like a truck and it's like the whole house shakes and we're like, God, Jesus Christ.
It's so horrible. That road is so bad. So bad. Anyway, what I enjoyed about not having a job was the ability to have whatever schedule I wanted and to do things when I wanted. And I know it's going to be a second to get there, but part of like why I went in for entrepreneurship in the first place was this idea of like, I will put in as much work as I want to, and that's going to benefit me. And like the hours that I put in, or if I want to work 3 days a week and have clients all day and then have a 4-day weekend, then I can do that. And I think that like ultimately that's my goal, because that is also like a way that my career is like supporting me to live and not necessarily I'm living for my job. But I think it does, kind of going back to like original ideas and why we're inspired to do the things, is like I want to help people. And I don't feel like, you can justify the different tech companies I've worked for that they're like doing things that are like making people more productive or like saving them time. And I'm like, but ultimately you're making another business more money. You're not like helping someone in their like happiness and life. And that is like what's important to me. And I think that life is so weird. Like, I don't want to get too philosophical, but like, I'm glad that I've kind of come to this headspace in my later 20s and not in my like 50s. And I'm like,
oh yeah,
like I'm glad that I am aware of this now, and I don't know like if I can help someone come to that realization earlier or now, like then that would be really great, so that they can just live their lives for whatever they have left.
Yeah, I think that's why I've always been drawn to working with youth. Just because, like, I don't know why, I just have always kind of felt this, like, need and wanting to be, like, a mentor and help. I just think it took a really long time for me to see, like, how shitty this country treats our kids. and like how when I really like thought I was about to step in and save the world. Like I really thought that like all of this was going to make sense, because not only was I going to like own business after business to help the programs for not only youth, but let's throw some alcoholics in there. Let's throw this. Like I really thought I was about to go.
Whatever problem you have,
we got it. Yeah, like I really thought I was about to change the world, and then it was like a tornado of like realizing like the way that the world actually works, and it's like a shame that it happened, and it's a shame that it kind of squished my vibe a little bit. And I really think like I'm proud of myself for being able to pull myself up, especially coming back from Australia and dealing with all the things that I had to deal with at that fucking place, to come back and then not like work for one organization and work with, it was only like a kid like program of 30 kids, but work through COVID, work through like meeting people that I'm like, are we friends? Are we not friends? Like we're trying to be like, you know, coworkers, but like, you know, we're the only ones thrown into here. Like that was a weird time. And then to grow and to be able to move out here and transfer that over, like it's all great. And like it's all great now too that I'm in this weird like position of like not really knowing, but at least like, you know, mental health is up. So like that's a win. So yeah. I just think, you know, constantly being reminded that like there's no set, like you said, there's no set path in life, and especially when it comes to a career, as it constantly changes, just like what interests me constantly changes, and my skills constantly change and evolve, and I think that my like career path should reflect that. I'm getting excited for the game. I can't even keep it in my pants. I gotta spice it up. Sometimes when we like talk too seriously, I'm like, no, have I thrown in a fun accent in there yet? No,
I haven't.
Well, we've reached delusional.
I couldn't have said it any better myself,
Love
even
it.
with the gestures. So we'll leave it at that. But if you don't know what you're doing, it's okay. Neither did we or do we, and everyone's just figuring it out. And don't put so much pressure on your job, because it's really not gonna give you all your happiness. Yeah. You gotta find it elsewhere.
Yeah.
Like we do with the podcast, and we would love to continue to be happy by growing.
So please share.
Please share with your friends and send an episode that you like to someone. And we are on Spotify and Apple and YouTube and anywhere you get your podcasts. And we even do fun clips on social media. So I don't know why I'm talking like this, but have a great rest of your week.
See you next week. Bye.